All right. I was contacted today by an individual who runs an outdoor publication in Wisconsin. I'm not fully familiar with it. I'm not on the mailing list. But I was able to do a little bit of research. They send out hundreds of thousands of copies. It's one of these advertiser-supported publications in which they make their money off the ads, and therefore they want to get the publication in the hands of as many people as possible. You could say that it's like a shopper only for outdoors people, except the content is not like a little shoppers will put in 2 or 3 stories. It's like a slick magazine. It's called, and some of you I'm sure are familiar with this, On Wisconsin Outdoors. The guy that runs it is a guy named Dick Ellis. Several weeks ago, he came up with a brainstorm. He's a conservative. He wanted Dan Kelly to win the Supreme Court election. So his idea was to put out a special edition of his magazine and send it to 1 million homes in Wisconsin. And as I said, he sent me the copy of it, and on my computer screen, it's a full color. It's very well done. It's like slick, well done magazine. It's not one of these, slapdash. He contacted the chairman of the Wisconsin Republican Party, Brian Schimming. And his proposal was, we would like to use our mailing list and our distribution list to send out about 1 million of these. What we're looking for is $166,000 to cover a portion of our costs. All the design, all the content, that's on us. And the ads that we sell to non-Kelly ads that are in there, that's ours. But in order for us to create a special publication like this, we've got costs. We're looking for $166,000. Now, 166, this is pretty simple math, unless I screwed it up, but I could screw up simple math. Can you screw up simple math? I'm just saying, 1 million copies, $166,000 is about 16 cents a copy, which to mail something out isn't bad. When you consider all these postcards and these things, the cost that they have in sending out one of these postcards, it's only the one page that doesn't have any content other than the ad. This is something in which there's an existing mailing list of people that are used to getting this publication and reading it, and that's his thing. $166,000. He's not a political consultant. He's not one of these political hacks that trolls around parasitically digging their clutches into well-heeled conservatives who want to donate or political campaigns. He's not one of these guys that tells a Supreme Court candidate to 19,000 times say rule of law or puts a trombone in their face. He's a guy who is a professional in the communications business with a focus on outdoors who wanted to help and not make any money off of it. So he sent this proposal to Brian Schimming, the Republican Party chair of the state of Wisconsin. Not surprisingly, they didn't take him up on it. So what they ended up doing is took the content and they put it up online, which of course doesn't get to find it online, somebody has to go to the site and take a look at it. And on their regular site, the regular people who go there would have had an opportunity to see it online, but it's not the same as getting all of those copies delivered into people's homes. But my point is that they didn't do it. The challenge for those of us in TV, radio, and newspapers, there'll be an ad on, and people who don't have any interest in the product are going to hear the ad along with those that are targeted. Well, in this case, since they've got an existing mailing list of people that are in the outdoors business and the content is mostly outdoors, it's directly targeted that you have very little wastage. It doesn't mean that everybody who's going to get it is going to say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and vote for Dan Kelly. But it's, I think, much more effective than a lot of the other types of advertising that goes out, and much more effective than these infernal postcards that they send out to everyone. You get 90 from either candidate. I think they're just worthless. In any event, the point is, the new regime that runs the Republican Party of Wisconsin decided not to do it. Now, you'd think that would be the end of the story. It's not. The guy who wanted to do this, and I said his name is Ellis, he contacted me. He initially sent the proposal to Brian Schimming on March 9th. Didn't get a response. So he emailed it again on March 10th. And emailed it again on March 12th. And emailed it again on March 28th. Schimming never responded. Not even we're really tight, it's a great idea, or is there a way that we could split the cost? Thanks for your support. Nothing. Just blew him off. Blew him off. Here's a guy who commissioned his staff to do all of this work, to put all of this together. Somebody on our side, somebody who wants to win. And he doesn't even get the courtesy of a thanks for doing it. You know, I get that I've been a broken record on this. And the reason I'm a broken record on it is I'm getting nowhere on this. It is long past time for people involved in the Republican Party of the state of Wisconsin to stop this stupidity. Our side has bad messaging, runs bad campaigns, does terrible policing of candidates, has no sense of organization whatsoever. I'm not going to blame them for poor fundraising. I think that part is simply not their fault. There's just more money on the left right now. But we're making a lot of mistakes and nothing gets better. They take for granted their supporters. They claim that they're focused on the grassroots, but here's a guy who literally is not only the grassroots, but a rather wealthy grassroots, given that he runs a publication. And they don't even tell him, hey, nice idea, but go jump in a lake. They didn't even bother to tell him to jump in a lake. They just let him know by not even responding to 4 different emails that he should jump in a lake. And after the election is over, you know, he's frustrated. He contacts me and he showed me the material and he sent me the thing so I could judge, because clearly, you know, if Hitty just said we did this, I might have thought, well, maybe it was really crappy. It's well done. I can even show it to you, Paul, if you want to see it. And I don't know if it's still up on their website. They may have taken it down or not, but actually it looks like the kind of thing that you'd read 3 or 4 of the articles that were on here. And like I say, it's creative because then you stick all this Kelly stuff in the middle of this. And, you know, Paul says the word lazy comes to mind. There's laziness, but there's also stupidity. It's just stupid not to, even if you're not going to do this, not to court this guy and get him in the network and see, can you do something that's creative stuff? Let's see if you can't have him in the next campaign, do something like that, you know, put it together. I mean, this is somebody who's did all of this work on his own. And the answer here is he's not part of the club. He's not one of the established and competent political consultants that we have running around in this state. He's not in the Madison lobbying crowd. He's sitting there in up north Wisconsin trying to help. Well, I contacted Schimming. Brian Schimming's response to me is, Mark, I'm sorry I didn't respond personally to him. In the pile of to-do, I just lost track. We took a look at his mailer and cost and thought it didn't make sense, given the limited funds we had to work with. I do wish I would have sent him a reply. Well, so do I. There's zero chance this happens on the Democratic side. The reason all these fat cats are kicking in $1 million here or 10 million there and so on is the Democratic leadership is sucking up to them. Do you think when Mark Zuckerberg said, hey, I'm going to come in and try to rig all the elections by going into the 7 most Democratic cities in Wisconsin and taking over their election apparatus to juice the voter turnout, you think that they told him, no, I don't think that's a good idea, or just ignored him? As I said, my side here is in Wisconsin and elsewhere, because of the abortion issue and a lot of other issues, has an uphill battle right now. And we've been on a statewide losing streak here. But a big portion of this is stupidity. The messaging, as you know, I believe is stupid. The inability to stop candidates and campaigns from nuking one another out in primaries is stupidity. The not making a better attempt to recruit candidates who have a chance of winning and discourage those who are certain to lose just continues. And now this. I get you're busy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's no excuse for this. The problem is it's going to be tolerated. The chairman, the Central Committee of the State Republican Party of Wisconsin is going to be perfectly fine with this. I don't even know. Will anybody ball Brian Schimming out other than me? What the hell is his problem? I should have gotten back to him. No kidding. You should have gotten back to him. I kind of think, now I'm not managing his budget. I know they want to do this, so many things where there are better uses for the money. I thought this is pretty cost effective, 16 cents per mailer when you consider it was 12 pages, really slick looking and so on. And the rest of the content, the non-Kelly content was well written. So I think a lot of the people, targeted sportsmen, would not have thrown it away. They would have paged through it, and therefore they see the Kelly stuff on the way through. But maybe there was... Or maybe you cut a deal to do fewer of the, I don't know. My takeaway is this. Every single time my side loses an election, I complain about what's been going on with the over-reliance, not only on consultants, but stupid consultants, poor messaging, yapping about the rule of law, poor tactics, not understanding the get out the vote is everything. I bring it up again and again and again and again and again. The reason this isn't a lost cause, as you see with regard to the bail referendum, the overwhelming majority of Wisconsinites still have conservative ideologies. The abortion issue, as I say, is a problem. It's the one where they don't. But I'll admit to you, nothing ever gets better. We keep going through one chairman after another, after another, after another. The staff often remains the same, and it's the same stuff. I've been yelling forever to get this office out of Madison. Maybe if the office wasn't in Madison, and maybe if the office was in Hayward, your inner circle would include people like this guy who wanted to put together this publication, as opposed to the people who designed these inane, stupid postcards that go straight into the garbage. The other thing, these consultants all get a markup. They make a profit. It's their, that's their job. Of course they get a markup. This guy was going to do it without a markup. But he's not part of the network. He's not part of the in crowd. So he's blown off. And as I say, what accountability is there for it? The National Republican Committee from Wisconsin is Tom Schreibel, really smart guy. Is he going to ride Schimming's butt for the rotten performance in this election? Or is the only person that's going to complain me? Me. Am I the only accountability? The only downside you get for losing is Belling yells about you. And there's only one explanation for that. Only one explanation. And that is the leaders of our side don't much mind losing. I think a lot of people mind it. There are many people depressed about this. Consultants just go on to the next campaign. Nobody's going to dock Schimming. Nobody's going to dock Mark Jefferson, the chairman of the party. And as I say, I think it goes back to this point here about everybody is concerned about who has turf within the conservative movement. In the meantime, here's this guy. Think about it. Imagine if you put in, and yet your staff put in all this work. And the reason he did all the work in advance is he wanted to show them this is what we're going to do, rather than say, hey, give me the money and then I'm going to produce a load of crap. And he doesn't even get an acknowledgement. And again, other than me bawling Schimming out here on the program, what's the downside in this? What's the accountability for Schimming? Nothing. Move on to the next campaign. Oh, there isn't another one for a year and a half. Let's organize the RNC, make sure we have a lot of good cocktail parties, go out there, hobnob, rub shoulders, have a few galas for the lobbyists. Let's bring all the consultants in and pat them on the back and have a couple of seminars and pay somebody's expenses to go to CPAC, blah, 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 and make sure we all enjoy the 13 meetings a year that we go to for the RNC, etc. And then lose the next campaign. As I say, the only person kicking butt here is me. I kicked butt after 2018. I kicked it after 2020. I kicked it after 2022, and now I'm kicking it after this. And unfortunately, as I always acknowledge when I fail. I've failed at this. What have I done to increase the capabilities, the brain power of political consultants in the state of Wisconsin? Nothing. The only candidate we have who runs well-messaged campaigns is Ron Johnson. And Ron Johnson barely beat Mandela Barnes. The reason he got by him is that he hit him hard. It's the only reason he didn't suffer the same defeat that Tim Michael suffered. He's the exception. What a surprise. The only guy with backbone is the only Republican that can win a statewide election in this state. I'm going to shut up about this because you've heard me say it enough. I press on because I don't intend to give up. And I know what the problem is.